My name is Lisa Ann Bachman Jones. As an artist, I go by L.A. Bachman. Give and Take is a series I've been formulating the idea for about a year. I see that give and take in relationships happening in any kind of human intimacy. Parent to child, sibling to sibling, friend to friend, lover to lover. There is give and take for it to thrive, for it to grow, for it to be kind of productive, if you will, or healthy, as opposed to maybe being stifling or one-sided or even hurtful. The 4 elements of relationships that I'm trying to show are physical touch, verbal communication, the, emotional support, or maybe even verbal support of dreams and hopes, being supportive of one another, and then the sharing of resources, whether that be money, food, time, those sorts of things. And each side shows maybe that going well, that being balanced, that sharing, that give and take of spending some time listening, some time talking, versus maybe the other side of the communication one, which would be somebody's only doing the talking and the other person is only doing the listening, which would be kind of a dominant. If that is always how it goes, that's going to be out of balance. I wanted the paintings to not be on the wall because that would be stagnant. They'd be framed, they'd be on the wall just like normal. Since I was trying to present 4 elements of relationships that are kind of have 2 sides to the same coin, I wanted them to be able to be independent of the wall and to be able to be mobile. We decided to have them suspend from the ceiling, have a plank that would be stationary, and then there's a ball-bearing joint within that plank, allowing the 2 paintings that are attached back to back to be able to rotate freely and silently. For this particular series, I utilized the Professional Development Support Grant that Tennessee Arts Commission has on hand online. And I've had this one before, actually. I've applied before and received funds. So it's been a great experience, it always has. Matt, Mellon, and Larry, they are really wonderful to work with because Matt not only brings his skills to the table, he also brings his ideas and he just shares them. He's got them, and he never, much like Larry, never stops thinking of a different way to look at something. No relationship is obviously going to be perfectly in balance all the time. Even a healthy relationship is going to have moments where somebody's doing all the taking right now and somebody's doing all the giving. But as long as it has that fluidity, as long as each relationship, I think, has those 2 elements and they do stay in check, as when they spin, like you're getting a little dose of each, I think that in that balance is where you have a supportive, fluid relationship. You just can't get stuck on the negative side. That's just kind of the conclusion I've come up with for my life. I feel like I've trained my friends to always give me a call if they're gonna get rid of something that's big, wooden or otherwise, something I could paint on. And so I get calls from time to time, hey, could you use this? And I always say yes, even if the answer might not be yes, because I want to be able to use it. I want an opportunity to use it, and if I can't, I will give it to someone else that can use it. And this series is completely painted on masonite board. A friend of mine who was just cleaning out his basement, him and his wife one day, were just realized they had a stack of masonite board. They said, Lisa, can you use this at all? And I drove right over and I looked at it, and they were beautiful and big and had some interesting blemishes, if you will, all around the side because they had been hammered into and drilled into, and I just loved them. In addition to the 4 rotating pieces, there will also be accompanied by about 20 watercolor pieces, where I will be touching on the same idea. I have been continuing to reflect on the interaction between human beings in each of those, but they'll be a little more like afterthoughts. They will just be there to complement and kind of cradle the 4 that will be whirling around in the center of the gallery. So I want my pieces to draw people in, whether they have an artistic background or not. I hope that that's a treat for people in the gallery. that they get to go up and they get to touch it. They can touch the front even if they want, but they'll probably just use the handles. I want them to walk away, if they do read about the give and take, or if they even just hear the title, and if that makes them think or reflect on their own relationships in some way, or if they do read a little bit about my statement. That would be like a deeper and more complicated goal, is that if it does actually touch somebody on the concept level and mean something to them. Because no matter what, it's therapeutic for me.
You know, we just had to get our heads together and find out what we need to do to make it work, you know. What stuff we had around the garage and our background between his woodworking and my mechanics on welding and metal work, and we made it happen.
I love that our very functional mission was to make them spin and balance and reflect what she's trying to reflect with her artwork, which is polar opposite aspects of relationships, and the balance is another aspect. Ours was purely functional, but tied directly into the theme of the show, so it was really fun to do that. Staying with found objects and materials, we just started looking around the shop and looked for the things that we could just reach for and make it happen in the simplest way. And so what we came up with was the single plank, the single spin, single point of motion.
I've worked here about 5 years since it's open, and we discovered Lisa Bachman through a friend, and we're immediately kind of drawn to it because it's very ethereal, organic, and expressive. But we saw great potential in her and gave her a group show just a few years ago, and it was one of her first shows, you know, outside of Beyond We All show at a coffee shop to get started, and we were very excited about it. It's just very expressive, but energetic and engaging at the same time, with this light touch that was unique, because she's using things like tea and coffee and wine in it. I was like, I just want to hang out in her studio and drink. Beyond, you know, we love the work. But it's been so cool to see her work grow every year. And this is her first solo show, and when she was talking about these spinning paintings, we were all like, that's a risk, you know, and you have to take a risk to get anywhere in the art world. And I've been really proud of her. I mean, you can really see the growth in her work, almost more than any artist, because over a short period of time, and she's so young, that she's taken these huge steps that normally take artists that I know, like myself, or even some of my friends, a decade or so to get to. So she's moving in big leaps and bounds, and we're just happy to follow and help because it's exciting. It's great work.
Well, I'm very pleased with how this has been going. This series has been a great success, not only for me personally, but also for the team that I've been working with. I know that Matt Mellon is very excited. I know that Larry Neeley is very pleased, and that just brings me so much joy knowing that it's been such a success. At times it's a little bit vulnerable to have what I've made be on display for others, but it also brings a lot of satisfaction to see people enjoying the work. I have to say, seeing two children play with the rotating pieces was like an extra, like, cherry on top feeling. I couldn't be happy with how this has turned out, and I've learned so much, and I will be going forward with this information for future series.
Cheers.